Excellent. All right, everyone. Well, thanks so much for your patience, and thanks so much for joining us tonight. I want to start by introducing myself. I'm Wallace Gundy, and I'm a very proud member of the class of 2004 and the president of the Alumni Association. And this is our annual meeting of the Alumni Association. So welcome. Traditionally, these meetings are much smaller with just our executive committee, so it's great to have several more folks with us this evening. I'm coming to you from Hoboken, New Jersey, where I live and where I work and live with my dog and my little family. I'm thrilled to be joined tonight by alumni of many different generations and geographies. And really the purpose of tonight is to share about alumni today and our priorities for alumni for the year ahead. Just a bit of housekeeping. We do have a chat running, which I'm going to try to toggle between looking at my screen and looking at the deck. And then, so don't hesitate to drop any questions that you may have in there throughout, and we will surface. And then there will also be a Q&A session at the end that will feature Shelley, who's our Director of Alumni and Parent Engagement, and who's here on the screen with us, as well as Christian Sockel, who's our Assistant Head of School for the Office of Institutional Giving. And he will be able to provide additional details on the state of Hill alumni and our school. Additionally, I know you see some folks who are on the screen and others are not. We do have Shelley, Christian, and myself, as well as members of the executive committee on screen. And so if you're wondering why your video might not be working, that would be the distinction there. So jumping ahead, let me start by just saying that, this is, and Shelley, you can head on to the next slide.
Wallace, you muted yourself.
Let me start by saying that this is just a really exciting time for Hill alumni. I was back on campus last month for the class of 2023's alumni induction brunch, and it was a really, beautiful spring day. Campus was, vibrant and lively. Students were happy and jovial, and I'm not just referring to the ones who were, mere hours away from jumping in the Dell. There was just a really incredible sense of joy and excitement really across campus, and it was pretty palpable. Not only that, but the Hill is celebrating its 25th year of coeducation, and we're just days away from welcoming a new head of school to campus, Kathleen Devaney. So this is really an exciting time for all of us, for our school, for the value of our Hill degree, and this is no doubt going to be a historic moment in the school's history as well. This evening, we're going to talk a little bit about the purpose of the Alumni Association and the Executive Committee, a snapshot of Hill alumni, the year in review, what we have to look forward for 2023, and how to get engaged in the Alumni Association. And we can jump ahead there, Shelley. Perfect. Thank you. So as just I think a good reminder for everyone, oftentimes I think the question becomes, okay, who are alumni versus the Alumni Association? All of us, we are all the Alumni Association. Every person who's received a diploma from the Hill School or completed at least one full school year becomes a member of the Alumni Association upon his or her high school graduation. That really means that this is a pretty large network that we are all a part of, and is further strengthened each year we welcome a new class. The governing group of the Alumni Association is the Executive Committee, which you see here. And Shelley, you can bump ahead to the next slide. So this is the current Executive Committee, and we will all carry into next year in this instance as well. We span 5 decades, 5 different states, with a multitude of just different backgrounds and experiences, really with one critical common tie, and that's our love for the Hill School. The Executive Committee's duties include assisting in organizing and promoting regional events for alumni and other alumni activities such as that, assisting in organizing and promoting career networking events, affiliate group programming, assisting in organizing and promoting on-campus reunions and other programming on campus, working collaboratively with the school to encourage alumni to support the school's mission and purpose through giving time, personal and professional skills, and financial support. And assisting the school in seeking out, cultivating, and recommending qualified students for the school. And lastly, supporting the school philanthropically through our support for the Hill Fund. The number one focus of the executive committee is to increase alumni engagement. And I know that this is, the word engagement is a pretty broad and large word. So, what do we mean by engagement? And really, engagement is deliberately broad. It's, attending events and coming to campus, sure, but it's also, reading our Hill emails and checking out the website, staying active and in the know of what's happening on campus, what's happening with our student body. Participating in the Hill Fund is another way. Coming back and speaking to a class of students is yet another way. We'll go through this in a bit more detail later in the presentation, but really the opportunities are endless and the options are endless. And ultimately, what we want in any given year is for a greater number of alumni to end the year engaged than they started at the beginning of the year. Let's pivot to a bit of a snapshot of Hill alumni. Our alumni by the numbers to start, we have over 10,000 living Hill alumni, 85% of which are male, and 25 years into coeducation, we've hit the 15% mark of female alumni, which might not sound large, but really is when you think about the long history that we had of being an all-male institution. 44% of our students that were enrolled in this past year were legacy students, which I think speaks volumes to our group in particular, that generations of Hillies are sending their sons and daughters to the school, and grandsons and granddaughters. And we just welcomed 158 brand new members of the class of 2023 to the Alumni Association. So Hillies are everywhere. Really, the geography is pretty remarkable. Hill alumni are living in all 50 states, District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and 49% of our alumni are living in these top 5 states, which probably isn't a surprise, but at the same time, it is great to see, California on the other side of the country is one of our most heavily populated states, and we do have 3 members of the executive committee representing that as well. 9% of our alumni are living in New York, Pottstown, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., and Seoul. So these major cities. And then we have 850 alumni living in 85 different countries. So truly, we are a global alumni association, which I think has always been powerful, but I think is especially more powerful today as we are becoming a more and more just truly global workforce, global world. We are, in jobs where we are communicating with folks all across, not all across the country, but all across the world as well, every day. And so it's pretty incredible to be part of an alumni network that is truly global. Not only that, but Hillies are doing everything. Let this be a reminder to leverage the Hill network. Our extensive alumni, yes, span the country and the world, but also are serving as leaders of every field imaginable, from law and tech, finance, education, medicine, marketing, the arts, architecture, real estate. It truly goes on. Nonprofit work, entrepreneurship, you name it. We have listed 5 of sort of the top industries here, but truly, it's pretty incredible that really, over 80 different industries are represented by our population. If you aren't already doing so, now is the time to connect to the Hill's LinkedIn network, find classmates, find folks that are also in the Hill network, and connect with them on LinkedIn. So we're going to switch gears a little bit and just talk a bit about the year in review. So this past year, we had, thanks so much, Shelley. So we currently have 19 regional chapters, 15 of which are throughout the US and 4 internationally. 3 of these are brand new this year. So this time a year ago, we were 3 shorter, and we said we were confident we would have a few more this year, and that's exactly what happened. Dallas, Houston, and Nashville. We welcome to this list, and a huge thank you to Matt Perry Miller from the class of '83 from Dallas, Sam Cloughton from the class of '09 from Nashville, and Katie Gossett from the class of '03 from Houston for helping pave the way for these 3 new chapters. This time in a year, I am confident once again that we'll have a few more on this list. I really want to thank all of our regional leaders who are volunteering their time to help support regional alumni events and are all sort of our boots on the ground Hill ambassadors in these cities. It is not possible to scale our alumni network, our alumni association globally without volunteers in these areas. So you're really allowing us to have these wonderful Hill enclaves across the world. We also currently have 9 affiliate groups, and a huge thank you to these regional affiliate group leaders as well, who are volunteering their time to help support regional alumni events. It's been really wonderful to see events over the course of the past year that really had sort of a specific focus on these passions. Lacrosse, there was a great lacrosse event, I know, as one example, but I think that the ability to have events that center around a common interest that is that spans so many different generations is really pretty powerful. We had 47 alumni events that we either on campus, but also largely across the country and world this year. Alumni were coming out to connect with old friends, meet new ones, and we're really just eager to share mutual Hill ties. In these photos alone, you'll see the brand new Houston chapter and longstanding New York and Boston chapters, Seoul, one of our international chapters. You'll see our Black alumni affiliate group and a young alumni meetup. And there are many more photos like this that represent similar meetups throughout the year of old and new friends alike. So again, thank you to all of you who hosted an event, came to an event, and encouraged others to do so too. By doing these things, you're really spending your precious and limited time on the Hill, and I'm grateful to you for doing that. Hillies really met up in all corners of the world, and we look forward to doing the same this year as well. In terms of some of our sort of cornerstone events that are really, centered around what it means to be an alum, I did want to take a moment to comment on Blue Gray Day. We had Blue Gray Day about a month ago, just over a month ago, in which we welcomed our new members, 158 new members of the class of 2023 to the Alumni Association. 14 of these were legacies. We also welcomed Carrie Elliott and Joey Astorino as class secretaries, who are charged with keeping the class of 2023 connected to one another in the school. And I know that there are several class secretaries on this call right now as well. Across the country and around the world, alumni were donning their blue and gray, scrolling through old photos, reminiscing of their time as students, hashtagging BG Day 2023 and really paying it forward quite literally in honor of these newest alumni. We had 437 donors raise $227,000 in just 2 days. 67% of those donors were Hill alumni. So this is really yet another testament of the loyalty of Hill alumni and the phrase back of each, the strength of all. I also want to give a shout out to the classes of 1965 and 1970 who sort of organically created their own competition among themselves, right down, it was an unofficial competition, right down to the last gift, which came from the class of 1965 at 11:58 p.m. and ultimately broke the tie. So it was great to see some friendly rivalry among some of our classes, all in the spirit of dear old Hill. Let's also talk a bit about reunion weekend, which I know just wrapped up a couple of weeks ago. But over reunion weekend, we celebrated the 3s and the 8s reunion cycle. 240 alumni returned to campus from 27 states and the District of Columbia, along with 3 countries, with alumni traveling from as far as China. Pretty remarkable. And highlights from the weekend included the 25th anniversary of co-education celebration with a Journey to Co-Education presentation and a 7th Forum tea, as well as a back to school academic sessions with faculty, walking tours around campus and tastings, and then a meet and greet with the head of school-elect Kathleen Devaney. I unfortunately didn't make it to campus, but I had several friends who attended and had just a great time. And now is the time, if you're in the 4s and 9s reunion cycle, to really be saving the date for next year. You don't want to miss out, and really just make it a priority right now, even though we're 11 months away. Make it a priority right now to be back next year for your reunion. So I'd love to talk a little bit about 2023 and beyond, and some of the focus areas and some of the efforts that the executive committee has had this past year. So really, the executive committee has spent the past year most focused on the following 3 pillars. So first and foremost, our sort of North Star alumni engagement, which we mentioned in the beginning of this call. Second of all, volunteer revitalization. And third, really around celebrating alumni talents. And I'd like to tell you a bit more about each of these and the paths we're taking. Regarding alumni engagement, with Stephen Engblom, who's a member of the executive committee at the helm, we've been working alongside Shelley and Christian's team on a quarterly alumni engagement series that will allow alumni to log into quarterly virtual hour meeting sessions in order to learn about a particular segment of the school. These sessions will take place, midday East Coast time, really allowing for folks in various time zones and varying time zones to comfortably log in, maybe over, a lunch hour during work or something like that. Topics that we've brainstormed include hearing from the Board of Trustees, hearing from our new head of school, updates on the state of Hill programs such as admissions and athletics, college admissions and today's curriculum. But really, this will give alumni an easy access, regular way to stay informed about all of the great things happening at the school. So we encourage you to keep an eye out for more information on this later this summer. What our intention is that we will roll out the full calendar of programming for the year to come all at once, so that you can save the date from the get-go. Additionally, great features have been added to the alumni directory. So please take a look if you have not done so recently. But these features include indicating alumni mentors. So, over 200 alumni have raised their hands to volunteer to be mentors to other alumni pursuing a career in that field of interest. And this is all very easy to see within the directory. Additionally, there is a job board, so you can see a listing of jobs that alums have shared, but you can also go ahead and share jobs yourself from your place of employment, and help tap into that strong Hill network in that way as well. And there's also a business directory, and this is an opportunity for, if you have a business that you own, you can share that business and promote that business within the Hill alumni directory. Regarding alumni volunteer revitalization, our big focus has been implementing a quarterly volunteer newsletter that includes a volunteer toolkit, tips and tricks for managing your group as a class secretary or regional chapter leader or affiliate group leader or reunion volunteer, all very relevant cross-functional recommendations, updates from campus, upcoming events, and requests for submissions and things to look out for as a volunteer. I will say we've sent out 2 of these, and they've been exceptionally well opened, which is great. Some of our most engaged alumni are volunteers, and so this is being read. But what I will say is that we're definitely still ideating on the content. And so if you read this newsletter or open this newsletter and have a recommendation for content that you think would make this more helpful for volunteers and help you be more efficient as a volunteer, please reach out to me. I'd really appreciate it. Regarding celebrating alumni talents, we now have a volunteer spotlight, which is both in our newsletter, but also on our website. Additionally, we've been working really closely with Shelley and Christian's team to develop an alumni award, which is given to alumni by alumni to honor the incredible talents that exist among our Alumni Association. We expect to have this finalized later this summer and look forward to communicating it to the Alumni Association at large, inclusive of a call for nominations later this fall. But also just a huge thank you to Rick Bragdon and Krista Tejan, who are both members of the executive committee, for their sincere leadership with this initiative. Okay, we do have an important matter of business tonight. We can switch to the next. Okay, perfect. We do have an important matter of business, which is a reminder to vote in the election of the Hill School Alumni Trustees. Alumni are elected annually to the Hill School Board of Trustees in accordance with the provisions of the Hill School Alumni Association bylaws. Candidates are nominated by the board's governance committee and elected by the alumni body to serve 5-year terms commencing on July 1, 2023. This year, alumni trustee candidate Max Zhang is up for re-election after serving as a term trustee since 2020. And then also alumni trustee candidate Dennis McGuire has been nominated to serve as the Pottstown alumni trustee, which is a role that was previously held by John Gavotis from the class of '88. There's biographical information listed about each candidate on the website. And if you just go to www.thehill.org/alumni, you will be prompted with the ballot, so to speak. To be counted, your ballot must be received by the school by 5 p.m. on Friday, June 30th. So as I mentioned, not only was this important business, but important timely business. So please be sure to do this by Friday, June 30th. You also might be saying, I think I already received an email or a mailing about this. You very well could have. So several of you on this call might have already voted, and that's great. But if not, please do head to our website. Okay. So lastly, before we head into our Q&A, I want to highlight the multitude of ways that there are that we have, and Shelley, you can head on to the next slide. Perfect, thanks. I want to highlight the multitude of ways that there are that we need you as Hill alumni to get involved and stay involved in the Alumni Association. We know that bandwidth is limited, free time is precious. We all have competing priorities, jobs, families, etc. But I want to encourage you to do all that you can to carve out time for the Hill School, both to enrich your relationship with the school, your relationship with your Hill ties, but also to pay it forward to that next generation of Hill alumni. You know, what does getting involved look like? What does engagement look like? It means, you know, reconnecting with classmates, attending an event, or maybe hosting an event, keeping your contact information updated with the school, becoming a mentor, referring friends and family to the admissions office, joining your reunion committee. Planning takes a year, so you know, never too early to be thinking about that. Participating in an affiliate group or a regional chapter, making a gift to the Hill Fund, nominating a teammate for the Athletics Hall of Fame, or a peer for our soon-to-be rolled out Alumni Award, or sharing your career as a guest speaker in a class. Like, these are all great ways to be involved in the Alumni Association and be engaged. And I just want to really remind everyone too that it is never too late. No matter how much time has passed, it's never too late to get involved. And so we just, if you're thinking you've been disconnected and you're not sure if you, if maybe too much time has passed, it has not. And we encourage you to get involved today. So with that, we're going to head into our Q&A for this next portion of the evening. Shelley and Christian can pop on camera if possible. Perfect. Okay, great. Okay. So at this point in time, we're heading into our Q&A. So Shelley, I think I'm right to say in order to submit a question, folks should just type it in the chat. Okay, perfect. If you have any questions about Hill alumni or anything happening on campus, this would be the best way in which to go about doing so. We do have one question, it looks like, Shelley, regarding just alumni programming for in honor of the alumni, the celebration of alumni during reunion weekend and at the reunion dinner. There was a celebration of alumni that I think Shelley can speak a bit more to, if you want to address that, Shelley.
Sure. We did celebrate the 25th anniversary of coeducation in a couple of ways during reunion weekend. The first was that we had a presentation entitled The Journey to Coeducation, in which we used some research papers by our archivist, Lou Jeffries, and traced through the very beginning of the concept of coeducation through its implementation. We followed that with a 7th Form T, which replicates the 6th Form T that we have during commencement weekend, in which we welcome all of our female graduates into the Alumni Society. So we did have those two particular events that we used to celebrate the anniversary. We'll continue the celebration of the anniversary of coeducation during Elville weekend. We plan to have a special brunch in which we celebrate the pioneers of women's athletics at the Hill, we'll continue to look at some of those things. For anyone who missed the presentation of the Journey of Coeducation, it is available on the website. You can go there and see the information that was presented during that session.
Awesome, thanks, Shelley. There's also a question about just general attendance at reunions and if it's been increasing over the years, and then also average attendance of recent reunions.
Yeah, we had a really great turnout for this reunion. I think it's one of our highest that we've had post-COVID. And so we were really excited about that. We particularly had a great turnout from some of our younger classes, which was great to see. It was so great to see our 5-year alumni return back home. And so I don't have the figures with me in front of me for average of reunion attendance, but that's something that we can certainly share in future newsletters.
Thanks, Shelley. I don't know who would best be able to address this, whether Christian or Shelley, but there's a question just around the general relationship with Pottstown, if someone can comment on that.
I can take that. And Shelley, if you want to add to it. Hobart's Run is our neighborhood initiative where we are seeking to do really 3 things. One is to create a clean and safe environment for Hill and Pottstown, as much of our campus is contiguous to Pottstown. So the first phase of Hobart's Run was to create a clean and safe environment for this sort of geography, which is essentially about 3 blocks in every direction of the Hill campus. That's what's considered, quote, Hobart's Run, plus portions of High Street down into the main town. The second aspect of the Hobart's Run program was residential. So to what extent can we, the Hill, acquire property within the Hobart's Run geography and convert that to either faculty housing or in the third piece, commercial. So that is, we're kind of operating in all 3 of those phases. The clean and safe is ongoing. It's about landscaping. It's about cleaning up the street physically, providing facade renewal grants to homes that are within the Hobart's Run area. That's ongoing. The residential and commercial side is more challenging. As we, the Hill, would acquire homes within Pottstown, they come off the tax roll. And typically those are faculty housing that we do in terms of renovating those homes. So we're very careful kind of what we're acquiring, and we tend to do that with homes that are very, very close to campus, across the street, attached to the East Campus Faculty Village, parcels that are really close or strategically aligned with any expansion the school may want to do with regard to our facilities. The commercial piece, the most sort of profound impact there is we just recently opened a downtown cafe that is run by our students and was initiated through our entrepreneur class that Twyla Fisher runs. And Twyla is also one of the co-directors of Hobart's Run. The model that we use is the one that Trinity College, University of Penn, and Franklin Marshall most prominently used in their plan to deal with town and gown issues similar to what we're dealing with. And those three schools had those three phases. So we really did our research and have modeled that. We're in about the 10th or 11th year of this program. It's a generational pathway. It's not something that turns around overnight. So, I think we've done well with the clean and safe. The residential has been fairly successful in terms of the school acquiring homes and renovating them for faculty. The commercial piece is the most challenging, where we would hope in some cases alumni might relocate their businesses back to back to Pottstown and within Hobart's Run, but that's sort of much more of the long game. We have 2 full-time staff on the Hill as part of the Hill staff who run Hobart's Run, and Hobart's Run is now its own C3 with its own board.
Thanks, Christian. That's all really interesting, and it's great to hear all the wonderful things that are happening in Pottstown. I did just realize that there's the ability within this to raise your hand and then I can press allow to talk. So I'm sorry I didn't offer that as an option before, but David Dodge, I see that you have your hand raised, so I'm going to press allow to talk. And I think you're going to pop on screen. Maybe that, oh, David, were you intending to come on, or, oh, David? You there? Oh, hello. There.
Am I supposed to say something?
Oh, you had your hand raised that you wanted to talk. Did you not want to?
I will talk. But anyway, Shelley, you specifically told me I didn't have to speak, but I'm happy to anyway. All right. Anyway, to whom it may concern, I have been encouraged by seeing what I see on Google about the rating of the Hill School being so much better compared to the other boarding schools, particularly the East boarding schools, than it always used to be. And I was wondering, is there any specific reason for that? And if so, if there is one, what is it? And if there are more than one, what are they? And have they been identified, articulated, and assigned some responsibility for continuing? Okay. All right, Shelley. Now you know why I didn't want to speak.
Did a great job, though, Dave.
I can start to answer that a little bit, Shelley, and then if you want to
Yeah.
add to
Okay,
it.
Christian. Yeah,
Yes.
You're up.
All right. I think you're referring to a ranking maybe 2 years ago where Hill ranked 9th out of, I'm not sure how many, but a fair number of 2 dozen, 3 dozen schools. We ranked 9th. That was somewhat of an independent ranking that was based on, I think, primarily student to faculty relationships in terms of the close-knit, like the ability to learn in a very close-knit community, that we provide that in a really personal way. And that is not always the case at other schools, especially the sort of the larger schools where you don't get the chance to form these very close bonds with faculty like you do at the school. What I would say is a more somewhat accurate ranking is, and this is a bit detailed, but I think it's worth talking about just for a moment, is there is a group of the top 40 boarding schools in the country called the ABOPS group, which is stands for the Association of Business Office Professionals. It's basically all the CFOs of the top boarding schools in the country, and they actually rank those top 40 schools based on endowment size, admissions, retention, giving, finance, all sorts of very, very detailed and data points. And we fall at about 17th out of 40, out of the top 40, when you compile those metrics overall. But we score very high, in fact, in the top 5 with regard to faculty compensation and actually annual giving, in terms of percent giving of the alumni who support us, and also in dollars. So those are sort of, overall we're above in the top 50%, but when you start to slice some of the key metrics, we actually score very well. So the ranking piece is less formalized in the boarding world than it is in the college world. So that particular ranking, 9th, I know we made a lot of hay out of that in a good way, but there are some other rankings that are more data driven, that tend to be cited. The last piece I would say is we are still part of the 10 schools admissions group, which is considered, the elite boarding schools in the world, actually. So, Andover, Exeter, Groton, St. Paul's, Deerfield, Taft, Hill, Lawrenceville. So we're still in that group as well. But I think overall, certainly our reputation has improved, and that's reflected primarily in the admissions numbers, which are very strong.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I think it's a good answer.
Thanks for your question, David, and for that explanation, Christian. We also have a question just around the plans for Lawrenceville weekend. Will the red meat dinner be taking place, games on Saturday, or then any additional plans as well?
Yeah, we are in the process of putting together our plans for our signature events for next year, which includes Lawrenceville weekend. We will certainly on Friday night have the red meat dinner, as well as our Hall of Fame induction ceremony, as we typically do. On Saturday, as I already mentioned, we plan to have a special brunch in which we are celebrating the pioneers of women's athletics. Also during that weekend, we are going to be having what we refer to as Destination Hill. We want people to come back and really experience what is happening here on campus. And that includes so letting people come back and see all the great new things that are happening, but also being able to really experience the things that have not changed, that have stayed the same, the traditions that we've all come to know and love.
So the answer is yes, there's expanded programming. Great.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. And then there's a question around when the new head of school will arrive, and also what the new term for headmaster is. So I'm pretty sure we're referring to her as the head of school. So what her plans are for moving in, when she'll be getting started, et cetera.
So Kathleen's official start date is July 1st. They have already moved into Faroe House, but are in the process right now of finishing up some of their commitments that they have. But, as we mentioned, and she has already spent time here on campus getting to know us and meeting with different departments. So it's been great to, already have her get to see what's happening here on campus. So when she arrives in July, she'll hit the ground running.
Excellent. Very exciting. A lot of exciting stuff happening on campus. And then another question, what percentage of students applying to the Hill are accepted, and of those accepted, what percent actually attend?
I can answer that. It's 27% were admitted this year, and half of those who are admitted enroll.
Wow. Very competitive. It's great. Okay, and then are there any ongoing discussions regarding renovating or building a new pool?
I can take that too. We have a pool. There is a committee working with athletics and our facilities team about the plans for a new pool. first, the best location for that pool, and also its use. And that meaning, when I say its use, how big, how many seats, how deep, diving well with regular sort of within the pool itself, length, etc. So that study and that design phase is ongoing right now. We do have preliminary drawings for that pool. If built, it's likely to be located over at the far fields location, and there are a few sites over there that can handle a pool like we are considering. And once we were to arrive at the design phase, final design phase, it would go into kind of a budget phase, and then we would, once we would have that budget, we would begin fundraising.
Awesome. Okay, any other questions? I'm not seeing any in the queue, and I'm not seeing any other hands raised. Okay. 12 minutes left, so don't be bashful. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Shelley and Christian, for sharing some of those insights and anecdotes from campus. And as I said before, it's clear that so many great things are happening on campus. So thank you for that.
Well, there's another question.
Any chance of having a multi-year reunion for the classes of 70, 71, and 72? Or I'm sorry, as the classes of 70, 71, and 72 had last year?
I would say we're always open to any suggestions that people would have. The multi-year reunion that 70, 71, and 72 had was immensely successful. As a matter of fact, they plan to, continue to do that throughout their reunion cycles. So, if there is a class grouping that is interested in doing that, just let me know, and we will do whatever we can to help facilitate that.
I don't want to rush anyone. I'm sorry. All right. I am going to drop in the chat to everyone the link to the Hill website, which I had indicated was where you should go on and cast your vote. So let me just drop that there. It'll be very quick. So please do that. Other than that, I do have a special note and reminder that athletic facilities are open to alumni this summer, which is really exciting. I don't know if that's always been the case, but it is this year. Obviously, most relevant for folks in Pottstown, but they're open weekdays from 7 to 3:30, and the instructions to be able to access that are to reach out to the athletic office. So if you're living in Pottstown or thereabouts and you're interested in accessing the athletic facilities this summer, you absolutely should. And then an additional, just save the date regarding Destination Hill, which is happening during Lawrenceville weekend. Shelley just gave us a bit more information on that, but it's the next big opportunity for everyone to be back on campus. So really encourage you to prioritize that this fall, November, the weekend of November 3rd and 4th. On my last slide, I did have my contact information, so I will put that in the chat as well. But please, one of my favorite things in the world is talking to fellow alumni. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me with any ideas or just to chat, frankly. Just getting to know you is pretty incredible as well. So please don't hesitate to reach out if there's anything you want to discuss. And I look forward to crossing many of your paths over the course of the upcoming year. Anything else from Shelley or Christian?
I would just echo what you said, Wallace. If there's any way that we can be of assistance to anyone, please don't hesitate to reach out and call us. We're just a phone call or email away.
And Wallace, I just want to say thank you to everybody on the call tonight. June 30 is the end of the fiscal year. Many of you support the school in a variety of ways, philanthropically, with your time and with your talent. And we greatly appreciate everything that you're doing to support the school. We can't do it without you, and giving in all those variety of ways enhances the mission of the school on a daily basis. So we, from the Office of Institutional Giving and everyone that works at the school, thank you so much for all of your support.
Thanks, Christian. We appreciate all that you and Shelley do for the school as well. All right, everyone, well, take care. Have a great rest of the week and a great holiday week next week.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.